I met a man who never raised his voice, never got agitated, never explained himself. Doormen, executives, neighbors, everyone deeply respected him. One day I asked his secret. He smiled and said, "I don't try to earn respect. I simply don't allow disrespect." Today you'll learn exactly how to do this with techniques from the best philosophers who ever lived to command respect immediately anywhere. In 1503, Machiavelli knew, too many words dilute authority. Those who explain too much seem guilty. Those who justify every action sound insecure. Those who fill every silence reveal desperation. The human brain interprets silence as confidence. When you don't need to defend yourself, you appear innocent. When you don't need to convince, you seem right. When you don't need to prove anything, you project natural power. The first practical trick is simple: the 3-second authority. Every time someone attacks or questions you, count 3 seconds before responding. 1, 2, 3. Let the silence create discomfort in the other. Watch how they start shifting in their chair, how they repeat the question more hesitantly, how their tone changes. This silence isn't passive, it's active, strategic, psychological. You're not running from confrontation, you're controlling it. And this is just the first layer, the simplest, knowing how to create strategic silence. Silence is the breath of power, invisible but vital. The next technique goes deeper and attacks a habit you don't even realize you have. Nietzsche noticed something about human nature. Those who justify themselves have already accepted they owe explanations and thus place themselves in an inferior position. They've surrendered their power of choice. Think about the last times you explained yourself. "Sorry I'm late, traffic was terrible. It's not that I don't want to go, I just have to work. Look, I know it seems strange, but let me explain." Each of these phrases communicates the same thing. Please don't judge me badly. Please keep liking me. Please forgive me for not being perfect. What happens when you simply say, "I'll be late," or "I can't make it," or "I'd rather not do that"? Initially, people feel uncomfortable. They don't know how to react. They're used to your endless explanations. But something interesting happens. They stop questioning your decisions, because explanation invites debate. Justification opens space for argument, but a simple decision, stated without detours, closes the conversation. You owe no one anything beyond clarity. Your reasons are yours. Your motives are private. Your life doesn't need external approval. Test this today. Make a decision and communicate without explaining. Silence is protection. It's creating a trap where the enemy reveals himself through impatience. Speaking firmly is imposing yourself, making language a territory of dominance. Now, the next principle will challenge what you learned about being a nice person. In 2019, a 28-year-old executive entered a room where 12 directors waited to publicly fire her. They had prepared an ambush. False documents, fabricated accusations, bought witnesses. She didn't scream, didn't cry, didn't desperately defend herself. She just looked at them one by one with a calm that changed the entire room's temperature. When they finished their pathetic show, she said, "Are you done?" grabbed her things, left. 3 days later, all 12 were fired for evidence fabrication. What she did was apply, unknowingly, a principle Schopenhauer discovered about dignity. It's indestructible when you don't voluntarily surrender it. Most people, when attacked, panic, start thrashing about, frantically explaining themselves, begging for understanding. Each desperate reaction confirms the attacker's accusation. But there's another option, the emotional mirror. When someone attacks you, you reflect the energy back without absorbing it. You don't react with equal anger. Don't defend yourself desperately. You simply observe the aggression, like watching a child throw a tantrum. Your tranquility in the face of attack exposes the aggressor's childishness. Your serenity reveals their lack of control. Your intact dignity makes the aggression even more pathetic. The practical technique is simple. Breathe deeply 3 times before any response. Relax your facial muscles. Keep your eyes steady but not aggressive. Speak as if explaining something obvious to someone who hasn't grown up yet. "I understand your point of view" works better than any argument. "I'll consider that" disarms any attack. Interesting perspective ends discussions without winners or losers. You're not running from conflict. You're positioning yourself above it. But there's something even deeper that generates automatic respect, something that comes from within and cannot be faked. The most respected person I ever worked with was a 55-year-old janitor named Maria. The CEO stopped to greet her. Directors asked her advice during coffee breaks. She never yelled, never imposed herself, never tried to get attention. But she had something 90% of people have lost: authentic presence. Jung called this shadow integration, the ability to accept your dark sides without denying them or being dominated by them. Maria didn't pretend to be perfect, didn't hide her limitations, didn't lie about who she was, and this brutal honesty with herself radiated an authority no position or degree can give. Here's the problem. Most people live a performance, pretend to be happier than they are, hide their insecurities, deny their flaws, try to project an image that doesn't match internal reality. This disconnect between mask and essence generates a false energy others unconsciously detect. People feel something's off, that you're trying to be something you're not. Jung discovered that when you integrate your rejected parts, your fears, your anger, your imperfections, you stop wasting energy pretending. This released energy transforms into magnetic presence. The practical exercise is transformative. List 3 characteristics you hate admitting. Maybe you're controlling, or envious, or lazy. Now, instead of denying these aspects, accept them as part of you. Yes, I can be controlling when I'm anxious. So what? Yes, I feel envy sometimes. It shows me what I really want. When you stop fighting your own characteristics, you release an authenticity people instinctively respect. Because everyone's tired of masks. Accepting who you are is only half the equation. The other half goes against everything you've been taught about being a victim of circumstances. How many times have you blamed others for your lack of respect? My boss doesn't value me. People don't understand me. Nobody gives me opportunities. My family underestimates me. Each of these phrases is a confession of powerlessness. Her declaration that others control your destiny, a voluntary surrender of your personal power. Sartre had a devastating revelation. You're totally responsible for how others treat you, not because you deserve disrespect, but because you teach people how to treat you through your reactions and the boundaries you set. If you accept interruptions, people will interrupt you. If you're too tolerant, they'll disrespect you. If you allow them to cross your boundaries, they'll keep crossing. This isn't your fault in a moral sense. It's your responsibility in a practical sense. The difference is crucial. Guilt paralyzes. Responsibility empowers. When you take total responsibility for the respect you receive, something internal shifts. You stop waiting for others to change. Stop complaining about circumstances. Stop positioning yourself as a victim. And start acting as the architect of your own experience. The idea is simple but revolutionary. How can I change my behavior to generate more respect? Instead of, why don't people respect me? One question puts you in control. The other leaves you dependent on others' goodwill. Test this now. Think of the last time you felt disrespected. Instead of focusing on what the other person did wrong, ask, how did my reaction allow them to treat me this way? What boundary didn't I set? What behavior did I permit? This analysis will hurt at first, because it's easier to blame others than take control. But this pain is liberating. When you realize you teach people how to treat you, you also realize you can teach them differently. And the first step is mastering your own emotional reactions. Something ancient emperors knew was fundamental. Why did Marcus Aurelius, emperor of history's most powerful empire, never lose composure in public? Why did Seneca remain calm even when Nero threatened to kill him? Why did Stoic leaders inspire respect even in extreme situations? They discovered authority's best-kept secret. Emotional control isn't repression, it's observation. Most people confuse control with suffocation. Try not to feel anger, fear, or frustration. Force fake smiles. Swallow emotions until they explode later. That's not control, that's an emotional time bomb. True Stoic control works differently. You feel the emotion completely, but aren't dominated by it. You become the observer of your own reactions. Marcus Aurelius practiced this daily. When he felt anger, he didn't try to eliminate it. He observed, interesting, I'm feeling anger now. My face is heating up. My muscles are tense. My heart is racing. This observation creates psychological distance between you and the emotion. You aren't the anger. You're with anger. The difference is liberating. The inner observer technique works like this. When a strong emotion arises, mentally step back and describe what's happening. I'm feeling humiliation. My stomach tightened. I want to strike back aggressively. Just observe, don't judge, don't fight, just notice. This microscopic space between feeling and reacting is where your freedom lives. It's where you choose how to respond, instead of just reacting instinctively. People sense when you're in control of your emotions, not because you're cold or insensitive, but because you own your reactions. This generates magnetic confidence. When you're no longer hostage to your own impulses, others stop trying to manipulate you emotionally, because they realize you're not easily shaken. But emotional control without correct reaction timing can be wasted. This is where few truly master the art of influence. You're in a meeting. Your boss just made a clearly wrong decision. Everyone knows it's a mistake, but nobody says anything. When should you speak up? Immediately? Later? Never? In private? Sun Tzu knew that timing of reaction is more important than strength. A right move at the wrong time becomes a mistake. A simple move at the perfect time becomes decisive victory. Most people miss the timing by two extremes. Either they talk too much when they should observe, or stay silent when they should act. The first group can't stay quiet, need to comment on everything, correct irrelevant details, interrupt presentations to make obvious observations. Result: they're seen as anxious and insecure. The second group never takes a stand, wait for the perfect moment that never comes, lose opportunities through excessive caution. Result: they're seen as irrelevant and passive. Strategic reaction timing follows three simple rules. First, observe before acting. Sun Tzu said, know your enemy and know yourself. Translate this to social situations. Understand group dynamics before taking a stand. Who are the allies? Who are the opponents? What's the emotional climate? Second, choose battles worth fighting. Not every nonsense deserves correction. Not every provocation deserves response. Respected people don't fight over small territories. They save energy for issues that truly matter. Third, act when others hesitate. Moments of collective indecision are opportunities for natural leadership. When everyone's in doubt, a clear and decisive voice naturally takes command. Back to the meeting example. If it's a minor issue, let it pass. If it's a decision that will seriously impact results, wait for a natural pause and say, can I suggest a different perspective? Don't attack the decision. Offer an alternative. Correct reaction timing transforms disagreement into consultation, transforms correction into collaboration. But even the perfect timed reaction can be wasted if you force leadership where it should flow naturally. The best leaders never try to lead. This statement seems contradictory, but Lao Tzu described a profound truth about human influence. The more you force authority, the more it escapes your hands. People who try to lead make a lot of noise, interrupt conversations to give unsolicited opinions, make unilateral decisions to show authority, correct details to demonstrate knowledge, micromanage processes to prove competence. Result: they're followed by obligation, not by choice. Natural leaders do the opposite, ask questions instead of giving orders. What do you think if we try this way, instead of do it this way? Offer suggestions instead of imposing solutions. An alternative would be, instead of the right answer is, create space for others to shine instead of monopolizing attention. Recognize others' merits, amplify others' good ideas. And here's the paradox. The less you try to control, the more people voluntarily follow you. Because you don't threaten their ego, don't compete with them. Simply create an environment where cooperation is natural. The practical technique is counterintuitive. Stop trying to prove you're a leader. Instead, be useful. Solve problems nobody else wants to solve. Facilitate difficult conversations. Connect people with common interests. Effortless leadership doesn't mean passivity. It means acting like water, finds the most efficient path, goes around obstacles instead of forcing but never stops advancing. When you lead this way, people follow you because they want to, not because they need to. And that difference is everything. But sometimes being useful and collaborative isn't enough. Sometimes you need to disagree, and that requires a specific art. Why is Dr. House respected while being deliberately rude? Why does Tyrion Lannister earn admiration, even contradicting powerful people? Why do figures who openly disagree often gain more respect than those who always agree? Nietzsche understood something crucial about social psychology. Excessive agreement is interpreted as weakness or falseness. When you always say yes, people start distrusting your opinions. When you never disagree, It seems you have no independent thought. When you avoid conflicts at all costs, you sound insecure or manipulative. The human brain responds well to authenticity, even when it's uncomfortable. We prefer rough honesty to fake kindness. But there's a difference between strategic contrariness and childish tantrum. Strategic contrariness serves truth. I disagree with this approach because I see three problems that could hurt us. It offers alternatives, builds on top of disagreement. Childish tantrum serves the ego. That's wrong. It won't work. I've tried that before. It just criticizes without contributing. The respectful disagreement technique works like this. First, acknowledge partial merit of the idea. I understand the logic behind this strategy. Second, present your specific concern. My only hesitation is with implementation in the current timeline. Third, offer constructive alternative. An approach that could solve this would be dividing it into two phases. This structure allows you to disagree without sounding destructive. You maintain your intellectual authenticity without creating unnecessary enemies. People respect those who think differently when that difference comes from genuine reflection, not neurotic need to stand out. The secret is disagreeing with ideas, never with people. This strategy concerns me instead of "you're wrong." When you can maintain your intellectual authenticity without arrogance, something powerful happens. People start valuing your opinion precisely because they know you won't lie to please them. And this careful honesty is the foundation for integrating all these techniques into a coherent, personal system. Now you know the 10 techniques that transform presence into natural authority, but there's an even deeper aspect about how Machiavelli saw true power, something few completely understand, and that can revolutionize not just how you're respected, but how you build lasting influence. Click on the video on screen now.